A question at the president's White House coronavirus briefing yesterday got a whole lot of attention.
Mr. President, after 3.5 years, do you regret it all the lying you've done to the American people?
All the what?
All the lying, all the dishonesties.
That who has done?
You have done. Tens of thousands.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Joining me now is the reporter who put the president on the spot there. SV Date is with us. He's the senior White House correspondent with the Huffington Post. And Sharish, tell us why you asked this question, and did you know that it would get a response like it has?
On the response part, no, I had no idea it would be taking off like it has. I've been wanting to ask him that question since his very first campaign event that I went to in New Hampshire back in 2015, and have not had the opportunity to do so until yesterday. And it seems to be like the key question of his presidency. I mean, the president says so many things that are not true, and sometimes it's not important, but sometimes, in the middle of a crisis, a pandemic, it is. And I wanted to see whether, given any reflection, given all this time, whether maybe he had some regrets about it. And apparently not.
Did you think he would answer it?
I wasn't sure. I mean, the easiest thing was to ignore it like he did. But sometimes he picks fights. Sometimes he will say, well, no, you're fake news, or, how do you know I'm lying, or you're lying, or I didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but I thought there was a decent chance he would just call someone else, and that is, in fact, what happened.
You're very aware the response has kind of illuminated the divide when it comes to people who are for the president and are against the president. People who are critical of the president championed the question that you asked. They feel very deeply their objections to the president's repeated tens of thousands of lies. But there's also, and I assume you may be aware of this, but when it comes to the White House press corps, there's also some, I think, kind of, I don't want to say, I guess I would say criticism of the question that you asked. I spoke with a number of your colleagues over at the White House from other outlets about the question. And what I learned from them is that they respect you personally. I heard that from a lot of people. They wondered, especially in your capacity being a print pooler who was representing more than just the Huffington Post, if that was an appropriate question or if it was a stunt. And I wonder, what do you say to folks who say that maybe that wasn't an appropriate question? What's your reaction to that?
Sure. I mean, and I get that. But, I've been doing this for a long time. Okay. And I think I understand that when someone that we're covering is gonna lie to you most of the time, there's not a whole lot of point in asking him, what do you think about the payroll tax? And what do you think about this vaccine? He does a lot of the time he doesn't know the answer. He'll just make something up. And the one key question that we all have, I think, is why does he do this? And we're entitled to an answer. I mean, it's okay. It's fine in a democracy to disagree about policies. I mean, that's what we're about. That's why we have debates. That's why we have legislatures. That's why we have this whole giant system. But it's not okay to not tell the truth. That is a problem. We're entitled to that. Whether you voted for the president or you didn't, you're entitled to get accurate information about what's going on, about what he sees as his policies, and what the White House is saying about them ought to be accurate. They work for us in the end. Let's not forget that. I wrote a long piece about this back in January and hypothesized the idea what would happen if there was a real crisis where the president's leadership really mattered. And within weeks, there we were.
Well, Sharish, I know this resonated with a lot of people, and I really appreciate you coming on to be with us and talk about it.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.